I never thought this would be my life. My name is Mike, and I'm just an average guy in my mid-30s. I work as a software engineer, and my wife, Ashley, is a marketing manager. We've been married for 7 years, and for the most part, things seemed pretty normal. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but I never once considered that our relationship was in jeopardy. Or at least, I didn't until the signs became impossible to ignore. It all started with little things. Ashley began working late more frequently, and though I initially thought nothing of it, my gut started to twist. She'd come home exhausted, her eyes red and puffy, and she'd often smell like cheap cologne. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I could see her phone lighting up with messages late at night, and she'd always hurriedly shove it into her purse when I walked into the room. But I trusted her. As the weeks went by, I noticed other changes too. She became more distant, less interested in our usual activities. The sweet, affectionate woman I married started to feel more like a roommate. Our conversations dwindled to nothing more than mundane exchanges about our day. I tried to talk to her about it, but her usual excuse was work stress. "I'm just busy, Mike. You know how demanding my job can be." I nodded, keeping my doubts to myself, convincing myself I was being paranoid. Then came the night that shattered my world. I had decided to wait for her in the parking lot outside her office after she told me she'd be working late again. I had the divorce papers ready, a final attempt to confront her about the state of our marriage. I was tired of being the one waiting, the one who felt unseen and unappreciated. As I sat in my car, my heart raced at the thought of what I might find out. I didn't know what I expected, but right then, I was determined to get to the bottom of whatever was happening. An hour passed, and my phone buzzed. It was a text from Ashley, saying she was running late and would be home around midnight. My gut churned, something felt wrong. I decided to take a walk around the building to clear my head. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being ridiculous, but I had to know. As I made my way around to the back entrance, I spotted a familiar car parked there, a sleek black sedan that belonged to her coworker, Jason. All the pieces clicked into place. I hid behind a shrub, heart pounding, as I watched Ashley step outside with Jason, laughing and playfully shoving him. My heart sank. They stood close, their body language too intimate for just coworkers. I felt my stomach twist as I saw him lean in, whispering something in her ear that made her laugh even harder. It was as if I had been plunged into icy water. The shock of realization hit me hard. She was cheating on me. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of betrayal. How could she do this? My heart raced, and I felt a swell of anger rising. I wanted to confront her right there, but I held back, frozen in disbelief. Instead, I slipped back to my car, my palms sweaty as I gripped the steering wheel. I couldn't focus, my mind a whirlwind of betrayal and confusion. I couldn't believe this was happening to us. After what felt like hours, Ashley finally got into her car. I felt sick as she blew me off with a casual, "I'll explain everything when I get home." I knew I couldn't wait any longer. I had to confront her. When she walked through the door, I was standing there, papers in hand, and the expression on her face shifted from surprise to defensive in an instant. "Mike, what's going on?" she asked, feigning innocence. I dropped the papers on the table, watching as her eyes widened. I didn't need to say a word. The evidence was there, and I was ready to shatter the illusion she had built. Her excuses came pouring out, a torrent of lies and half-truths. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under," she shouted, but I could see the guilt writ large on her face. I needed someone to talk to. I felt a mix of anger and sadness wash over me. How could the woman I loved twist the truth so easily? I was reeling from the emotional fallout, the pain coursing through my veins. It was clear that this was more than just a mistake. It was an affair wrapped in deceit. We stood there, two strangers in a house filled with memories. I wanted to scream, cry, and shout all at once, but instead I just felt numb. I had a decision to make. Where did we go from here? How did I want to move forward? The reality hit me like a cold slap in the face. This was not going to be easy, and it was only the beginning of my journey through this betrayal. What would I do next? The answer was still forming in my mind, but one thing was clear. I was going to take control of my life from that moment on. The days that followed were a blur of emotions. I was caught in a whirlwind, oscillating between anger, sadness, and betrayal. Ashley and I had a lot of conversations, if you could call them that. They were more like arguments, with each of us hurling accusations and hurtful words at one another. I had never seen this side of her before. The woman I had loved, the one I thought I knew, was suddenly a stranger. She tried the guilt trip first. "You always said I was too focused on my career. Now you're mad that I found someone to support me." I couldn't believe she was turning this around on me. It was like a slap in the face, and I felt my blood boiling. "You think Jason is support? It's infidelity, Ashley." I shouted, my voice echoing through the house. Every time I brought up Jason, she switched the conversation away, diverting to how stressed she was at work or how I never understood her. It was maddening. I found myself sitting on the edge of our bed, staring blankly at the wall as she paced the room, waving her arms and ranting about everything but the affair. I wanted her to take responsibility, to own up to her choices, but she dodged the issue like a pro. After a particularly explosive argument, I decided I needed some space. I grabbed a bag and headed to my brother's place for a few days. I needed to think away from all the chaos. Sitting on his couch nursing a drink, I made a list of what I wanted. I jotted down everything I felt: hurt, anger, betrayal, confusion. And then I wrote down what I wanted: clarity. I wanted to know how I could rebuild my life, whether with Ashley or without her. During those days, I found myself replaying every moment of our relationship. I dug deep into my memories, searching for signs that I might have missed. There had been red flags, but I was blinded by love. I recalled the times she would come home late or her evasive responses to my questions about her work. Each memory stung, and I felt a mix of regret and anger for being so trusting. Finally, I went back home, ready to confront Ashley again. I had thought about what I wanted to say, how I wanted to approach the conversation. I knew she would try to twist things again, but I couldn't let that happen. I needed to be firm, to lay out my feelings without letting her manipulate the narrative. When I walked through the door, she was sitting on the couch, her expression a mixture of hope and fear. "Mike, can we talk?" she said, her voice soft. I nodded, taking a seat across from her. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," I began, my heart racing. "This isn't just about you and Jason anymore. This is about us, our marriage, our trust, and our future." She listened, a hint of apprehension etched on her face. "I understand I messed up, but can't we work through this? I love you." Her words felt hollow, a desperate attempt to regain control. I looked her straight in the eye, forcing myself to remain calm. "Love isn't enough, Ashley. You broke my trust. You had an affair, and that's something we can't just fix overnight." Her eyes watered, and for a fleeting moment I saw the woman I had fallen in love with. But that moment passed quickly as her defenses went back up. "What does that even mean? Are you going to throw away our entire life together because of one mistake?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision I had to make. I had spent days contemplating our future. "One mistake? You've been lying to me. This isn't just a mistake, it's a pattern. I don't know if I can trust you again." Her voice rose, full of frustration. "So what? You're just going to walk away?" From me? I leaned back, feeling the tension in the air. "I need time. I can't just pretend everything is okay. I don't know if I want to stay in this marriage. I need to figure out what's best for me." Ashley's face fell, and I saw the fear and realization of what she had done sink in. "You can't be serious," she cried, her voice cracking. "I'll do whatever it takes to make this work. Please don't leave me." I felt a pang of sadness at her desperation, but I knew I had to stand my ground. I told her I needed space to think, to determine if I could ever see her the same way again. "I'm going to stay with my brother for a while," I said, my voice steady. "I need to clear my head." The days that followed were torturous. I cycled between feeling liberated and deeply hurt. I didn't want to give up on our life together, but the betrayal ran deep, and I wasn't sure I could ever forgive her. I missed the good times, the laughter, the love we once shared, but alongside those memories, I kept hearing her laugh with him, the laughter that should have been mine. As I tried to navigate my emotions, I sought advice from friends and family, each urging me to consider my own happiness. "You deserve better than this, Mike," my brother reminded me during one late-night talk. "Don't settle for someone who doesn't respect you." But what did that mean for Ashley? She was still my wife, the woman I had promised to love through thick and thin. Could I really just walk away? These were the questions that haunted me as I tried to figure out what my next step would be. What I realized was that I didn't want to make any impulsive decisions. I needed to plan my next move carefully. I had to find a way to either salvage our marriage or prepare for what could be a painful separation. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. I was going to take control of my life again, and I had to figure out how to move forward, whatever that might look like. The restlessness continued to gnaw at me, the weight of my emotions pressing heavily on my chest. Every morning I woke up in my brother's spare room. The sunlight filtering through the curtains felt both warm and suffocating. I spent my days trying to distract myself, burying myself in work or hanging out with friends, but every laugh, every conversation felt bittersweet. I was living a double life, one where I was the supportive friend and the other where I was the betrayed husband trying to make sense of it all. One afternoon, I decided to drop by my favorite coffee shop, hoping to find some solace in their rich brews and warm pastries. As I sat there, nursing a cup of black coffee, my phone buzzed with a message from Ashley. "Can we talk? I miss you." My heart dropped into my stomach. I had been dreading this moment, yet part of me felt a strange pull to engage. After all, she was still my wife and we had shared so much together. I stared at the message, debating whether to respond. My heart raced, caught between curiosity and caution. Finally, I typed back, "Sure, let's meet." I needed to confront her again. I needed clarity, and I hoped that perhaps this conversation would help me find it. We decided to meet at a park, a neutral ground away from the weight of our shared home. As I arrived, I saw her sitting on a bench, fidgeting with her hands. She looked different, more vulnerable. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and I could tell she had been crying. I approached slowly, my heart pounding. "Mike," she said softly as I sat down next to her. "I'm really sorry. I've had time to think about everything, and I realize how much I've hurt you." I remained silent, my eyes fixed on the ground. I didn't want to give her any hint of forgiveness just yet. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she had done. "I've been talking to a therapist," she continued, her voice trembling. "I know that doesn't change anything, but I'm trying to understand why I made such terrible choices." I looked at her, searching for sincerity. "You think talking to someone helps? You think that excuses what you did?" My voice was sharp, reflecting my anger. I didn't want to come off as cruel, but I needed her to grasp the gravity of her actions. "I know it doesn't excuse it," she replied, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I was overwhelmed and I made terrible choices. Jason was a distraction, a way to escape the pressure of my job and our life together. I never meant to hurt you." My heart ached as I listened to her, but I couldn't let sympathy cloud my judgment. "You say you didn't mean to hurt me, but that doesn't change the fact that you did. You chose to betray my trust. You chose to be with him instead of being honest with me." She nodded, her head bowed in shame. "I was scared, Mike. I didn't want to admit that things were falling apart. I thought I could manage it all on my own, but I was wrong. I'm so sorry." The words pierced through me, a mix of anger and the faintest hint of hope. Could she really change? I wanted to believe her, but I also feared falling back into the same toxic cycle. "What do you want from me, Ashley?" I asked, my voice steadier now. "What do you think we can do to fix this?" "I want to fight for us," she said, her voice earnest. "I want to prove to you that I can be better, that I can be the wife you deserve. I know it won't be easy, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes." Her determination surprised me. A part of me wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but another part of me held back, wary of falling for the same promises again. "You have to understand that I can't just forget what you did," I said carefully. "Trust is earned, and right now you have a lot of work ahead of you." "I know," she said, desperation in her voice. "I'm ready to prove it to you. I'll go to therapy, I'll be open and honest. I'll do whatever it takes to regain your trust." I took a deep breath, weighing her words. I didn't want to shut her out completely, but I couldn't ignore the hurt she'd caused. "How do you expect me to believe you? What if you slip up again?" "I have to earn your trust back, and I will," she promised. "Just give me a chance. I know I don't deserve it, but please." Her vulnerability tugged at my heart, but I remained guarded. "I can't promise anything right now. I need time to process everything, and I need to see real change." She nodded, wiping her tears. "I understand. Just please don't give up on me yet." As we sat there, the weight of our conversation hung heavily in the air. I felt the tension between us shift, but I wasn't ready to let go of my hurt. I needed to be cautious, to protect my heart while figuring out the best way to move forward. After our talk, I headed back to my brother's place, my mind swimming with thoughts. I didn't want to jump into reconciliation quickly, yet I also recognized the importance of communication. I couldn't ignore the love we had shared, but could I trust her again? The next few weeks were filled with small steps of progress. Ashley reached out to me regularly, sending texts to check in and showing genuine concern for my well-being. She started attending therapy sessions and even sent me screenshots of her progress. I was impressed by her commitment, but I couldn't shake the nagging doubt in the back of my mind. It was during one of our conversations that I realized I had to set boundaries. If we're going to work on this, you need to cut ties with Jason completely, I said firmly. No more contact, no more workplace interactions. It's the only way I can start to feel safe again. Ashley hesitated but eventually agreed. You're right. I'll do whatever I need to do. Her sincerity gave me a sliver of hope, but I couldn't let myself get carried away. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. I missed the intimacy we once shared, the laughter, the closeness. Yet I remained cautious, knowing that trust was not easily restored. I continued to see my therapist, discussing my feelings and fears. It helped to have an outlet, someone to talk to who could guide me through the storm. I was learning to prioritize my own needs and emotions, and that was empowering. Ashley's efforts to reconnect were admirable, but I still felt the chasm between us. I needed to see tangible changes to believe that we could rebuild. I wanted to move forward, but I needed to tread carefully. As I reflected on everything that had transpired, I realized that I had the power to shape my future. Whatever decisions I made, I wanted them to come from a place of strength, not fear. I was learning to trust myself again, and that was the first step toward healing, whether that meant rebuilding my marriage or finding the courage to walk away. Weeks turned into a couple of months, and I found myself navigating a strange new reality. Ashley was making efforts to restore our relationship, and I couldn't deny that there were moments where I saw glimpses of the woman I had fallen in love with. But those moments were often overshadowed by the lingering doubts that plagued my mind. I was at a crossroads, caught between the desire to rebuild my marriage and the fear of getting hurt again. One evening, Ashley suggested we go out for dinner. It was a welcome change to the routine we had fallen into. We decided on a new Italian restaurant that had opened nearby. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, with dim lighting and soft music. I hoped that a romantic setting could help rekindle some of what we'd lost. As we sat at our table sipping wine, I could see Ashley trying hard to engage me. "Remember our first date?" she asked, a sweet smile spreading across her face. "We went to that little Italian place downtown." I nodded, a wave of nostalgia washing over me. It was a fond memory, one that reminded me of happier times. "Yeah, you wore that red dress," I said, smiling back. "You looked stunning." Her face lit up, and I felt a flicker of warmth in my chest. But just as quickly, the memory twisted into one of pain. I couldn't shake the images of her laughing with Jason, the betrayal so fresh in my mind. "It's nice to reminisce," I replied, my voice steady but laced with tension. As the dinner progressed, I could see her trying to bridge the emotional gap between us. She asked about work, my interests, and even my friends. I appreciated her effort, but I also felt a nagging doubt that we were just going through the motions. "Mike," she said softly, her tone shifting, "I've been thinking about how to prove my commitment to you. I want to show you that I'm serious about changing." I leaned back in my chair, waiting for her to continue. "I'm ready to take a step back from my job, maybe even look for something new if it means reducing the stress and distractions. I don't want to lose you." Her declaration shocked me. I hadn't been expecting her to suggest changing her career for our marriage. "That's a big step," I said cautiously. "Are you sure you want to do that?" "I am," she replied earnestly. "I want to prioritize us, and I know that means making sacrifices. This job has consumed me, and I've let it get in the way of our relationship. I don't want to do that anymore." Her willingness to give up her job for us was a significant gesture, but it also raised questions. Was she doing it out of genuine love, or was it a desperate attempt to win me back? I needed to see continued effort beyond just words. I appreciate that, but it's not just about your job. It's about trust and honesty. You have to show me that you're committed to making real changes, not just drastic ones. She nodded, her gaze determined. I understand. I'll continue my therapy and I'll keep you updated on everything. I want to be transparent with you. As we finished dinner, I felt a strange mix of hope and apprehension. Maybe we could build something new together, or perhaps I was just setting myself up for another disappointment. The next few weeks saw a renewed commitment from Ashley. She was genuinely working on herself, attending therapy regularly and sharing her experiences with me. She even started joining me for weekend activities, trying to reintroduce the fun and spontaneity we once had in our relationship. One Saturday, we went hiking, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of connection with her. But just as I began to let my guard down, a storm of uncertainty swept back in. I received an unexpected call from my brother one evening. "Mike, I was at the bar downtown tonight and I saw Ashley with Jason," he said, his voice tight with concern. My heart sank. "Are you sure?" I asked, the words barely leaving my lips. "I thought she cut ties with him." "Yeah, I saw them together. They were laughing and sitting too close for my comfort," he replied. I felt the ground shift beneath me. Every ounce of progress I thought we had made suddenly felt like it was hanging by a thread. "She promised she was done with him. I have to confront her." I hung up, my heart racing. I needed answers and I couldn't let this slide. I waited for her to come home, pacing the living room. When she finally walked through the door, her face lit up when she saw me. "Hey, you're home early. How was your day?" I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation. "We need to talk, Ashley." Her expression shifted to concern. "What's wrong?" "Did you see Jason again?" I asked, my voice steady but firm. Her eyes widened, and for a moment I thought I saw panic flash across her face. "What? No, of course not." I could feel the tension crackling in the air. "My brother saw you. He said you were at a bar together, laughing and looking cozy." Her demeanor changed in an instant, the facade of innocence crumbling. "That's not what it looked like," she protested, but I could hear the defensiveness creeping into her voice. "We were just talking about work, I swear." The anger bubbled up inside me, a mix of betrayal and frustration. "Talking? You were supposed to be done with him. You promised Ashley." "I didn't plan for this to happen. I thought I could be civil." She shouted back, her face flushed with anger and guilt. "Civility doesn't mean hanging out together. You're still violating my trust. I get that you're hurt, but I don't want to lose you. Can't we talk about this?" The conversation spiraled into accusations and hurtful words, but this time I felt something shift within me. I was tired of being the one who felt powerless. "You need to choose, Ashley. It's either him or me. I can't be in a relationship where you still have ties to him." Her silence lingered in the air, heavy with uncertainty. I could see the internal struggle on her face, and it broke my heart. "I don't want to lose you, Mike," she finally said, her voice trembling, "but I can't just cut him out of my life completely." The words hit me like a ton of bricks. I had been grasping at the hope that we could salvage something, but the reality was staring me in the face. "Then maybe we need to reevaluate where we stand. I can't keep putting myself through this." As the night wore on, I felt an overwhelming sense of defeat. We had been trying, but the cracks were growing wider, and I was left holding the pieces. I needed to make a decision, and it had become painfully clear that the trust I fought so hard to rebuild was slipping through my fingers again. As I lay in bed that night, my heart heavy with uncertainty, I knew I had to confront the reality of our situation. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, torn between love and betrayal. The time had come for me to make a decision that would shape the rest of my life, whether I would fight for this marriage or finally walk away. The next few days were overshadowed by the weight of my decision. I replayed every argument, every moment of vulnerability, and every fleeting connection we shared. I had hoped for reconciliation, but the more I thought about Ashley's refusal to completely sever ties with Jason, the clearer it became. I couldn't be in a relationship defined by betrayal. I reached out to my therapist for a session, hoping to sort through my feelings. Sitting in the familiar chair, I poured out my heart. "I want to make it work, but every time I think we're moving forward, I find out she's still connected to him." It's like I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. My therapist nodded, listening intently. Trust is the foundation of any relationship. If that foundation is cracked, it's hard to build anything meaningful on top of it. You have every right to feel hurt and confused. I left the session with more clarity but still grappling with how to approach the conversation with Ashley. I knew I had to be honest, and I had to lay everything out on the table. It was time to confront the reality of our situation head-on. That evening, I asked Ashley to sit down with me. Her expression was cautious, and I could see the anxiety etched on her face. "What's going on, Mike?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. I took a deep breath, ready to lay my heart bare. "We need to talk about about what's been happening between you and Jason and what that means for our future." She nodded, her eyes wide with anticipation. "I know I messed up, but I'm trying to do better. Please just give me another chance." "Do you want to make this work?" I asked directly, cutting through the emotional fog. "Because I need to know if you're truly ready to let him go." There was a pause, and I could see her struggling with the weight of my words. "I don't want to lose you, Mike, but I have to be honest. Jason has been a part of my life for so long. I thought I could be friends with him." "Friends?" I echoed, feeling the anger boil beneath the surface again. "How do you expect me to accept that? You can't just have him in your life when he's the reason our marriage is falling apart." She looked down, her fingers nervously twisting together. "I understand that. Cutting him off completely feels drastic. I didn't mean for any of this to happen, Mike." "It's too late for that kind of thinking, Ashley." My voice rose, filled with frustration. "You need to understand the consequences of your actions. You broke my trust. You hurt me deeply, and I can't just ignore that." She looked up at me, tears forming in her eyes. "I'm trying to change. I'm going to therapy. I want to be better for you. But is it enough? Can you truly commit to making this work? You have to show me you're willing to fight for us, not just verbally but with actions." Her expression shifted, a mix of fear and determination. "I want to fight for us, I really do." I took another deep breath, feeling the tension suffocate the room. "Then you need to cut ties with Jason. No more communication, no more friendship. If you can't do that, then I have to consider whether I can stay in this marriage." The gravity of my words hung in the air, and I could see her wrestle with the ultimatum. "I don't know if I can." "Just turn my back on him completely," she said quietly. "Then I can't be with you," I replied, my heart aching. "I need to protect myself. I can't keep fighting for a marriage where you're still holding on to someone else." Her face fell, the realization hitting her like a cold wave. "Mike, please don't say that. I love you. I don't want to lose you. I need you to show me that love means more than just words. It means making hard choices. It means putting us first." Silence enveloped the room. I felt a mix of sadness and resolve. I wanted to believe that she could change, but I also knew that I couldn't be the only one fighting for our marriage. After what felt like an eternity, she finally nodded. "Okay, I'll tell him it's over. I'll cut him out of my life." The words filled me with a strange sense of relief, but I also felt a knot of doubt in my stomach. "I need to see that action, Ashley. I need to know you're serious." She nodded, her eyes shining with sincerity. "I promise. I'll do whatever it takes. I won't let you down again." That night felt different. For the first time in a long time, I dared to feel a small flicker of hope. Maybe this was the turning point we needed. The following days were tense but filled with small steps toward healing. Ashley kept her word, reaching out to Jason to end their connection. She sent me screenshots of their conversations, assuring me she was serious about moving on. I was still cautious, watching her actions closely, but I allowed myself to believe that she was committed to rebuilding our trust. At times, I would see glimpses of the person I fell in love with, the laughter, the warmth, the connection. But there were also moments where I could still feel the weight of betrayal hanging over us. I knew it would take time, but I was committed to giving our marriage another shot if she proved she meant what she said. As the weeks went on, I found myself feeling more optimistic. Ashley was actively engaging in her therapy sessions, sharing her progress with me, and we started to communicate more openly about our feelings. We began to plan date nights again, slowly rediscovering the joy we once shared. But even with the optimism, I still had my guard up. I needed to see consistency in her actions. I couldn't allow myself to slip back into blind trust. The journey of rebuilding our relationship was still ongoing, and I was determined to protect my heart while navigating this delicate path. Just as I began to settle into this cautious hopefulness, life threw another curveball my way. One evening, while I was going through my emails, I received an anonymous message that shattered the fragile peace we had been building. "Mike, I know what's really going on. Ashley is still in contact with Jason. You need to be careful." My heart raced. I had no idea who sent the message, but the implications sent a chill down my spine. I felt the ground shift beneath me again. Had Ashley been lying to me? I needed to confront her again, but I was terrified of what I might uncover. As I sat there staring at the message, I knew I had to make a choice: confront her with the new information or let the doubt fester. Whatever I decided, I felt the walls closing in on me. The question lingered: would we ever truly heal, or was this just another step toward another heartbreak? The anonymous message rattled me. I sat frozen, staring at the screen, my mind racing with questions. Who sent this? Was it true? I could feel the familiar mixture of anger and betrayal bubbling up again, threatening to spill over. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I had to confront Ashley, but I needed to approach it carefully. I couldn't let uncertainty dictate my actions. That night I waited for Ashley to come home, my stomach twisted in knots. When she walked through the door, I could see she was in a good mood, smiling, her hair slightly tousled from the wind. But as soon as she noticed my expression, her smile faded. "Mike, what's wrong?" I gestured for her to sit down, my heart thudding in my chest. "I received a message today," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Someone told me you're still in contact with Jason." Her expression shifted, a mixture of shock and guilt washing over her face. "What? That's not true. I told you I cut ties with him." "Then why would someone say that?" I pressed, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I don't understand why someone would reach out to me unless they knew something I didn't." Ashley's eyes darted around the room, and I could see her mind racing. "Maybe it's someone who wants to cause trouble. I swear, Mike, I haven't talked to him since the last time we discussed it." The desperation in her voice almost made me doubt the message, but deep down, I could feel the doubt creeping in. "I want to believe you, but this feels like déjà vu. You need to show me that you're being honest." "I am honest. I've been working hard to prove myself to you," she insisted, her voice rising. "I can't control what other people think or say." I took a deep breath, trying to rein in my frustration. "I'm not blaming you for what they think, but you have to understand how this affects me. I need to feel secure in our relationship, and this just throws everything back into chaos." Her face softened, and for a moment I saw the fear in her eyes. "I do want to lose you, Mike. Please trust me." "I want to," I said, my voice quieter now, "but I can't ignore the possibility that you might still be lying to me. I need you to be completely transparent." "Okay," she replied, her voice trembling. "I'll do whatever it takes. I'll reach out to whoever sent you that message and find out who it is. I'll clear this up." As the days passed, Ashley kept her word. She contacted the anonymous teepster, which turned out to be a mutual friend who thought they had seen her with Jason once, but the details were muddled. When Ashley showed me the messages, I felt a mix of relief and frustration. It didn't fully erase my doubts, but it confirmed she hadn't been in contact with him since we had that difficult conversation. "I want us to move past this," Ashley stated firmly. "I refuse to let this ruin what we're trying to rebuild. I love you, and I'm committed to making this work." I wanted to believe her. I could see the effort she was putting in, and the vulnerability she exhibited was genuine. But the ghost of her betrayal still hung over me like a shadow. "I appreciate that," I said, my voice steady. "But we've got a long way to go. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight." Weeks turned into months, and the fog of uncertainty began to clear slowly. Ashley continued her therapy, sharing details with me, and her commitment to cutting out distractions from her life became more evident. I began to breathe a little easier, feeling the weight of betrayal lessen, but remnants of doubt still lingered in the back of my mind. One evening, as we sat together on the couch, I decided to bring up the future. "What do you see for us, Ashley?" I asked, my heart pounding. "What do you want our life to look like moving forward?" She looked thoughtful, a smile breaking across her face. "I want us to be better. I want to travel together, build a home, start a family." I want to share every moment with you, the good and the bad, and I want to do it honestly. I felt a warmth spread through me, but I was still cautious. I want that too, but I need us to be on the same page. We can't have secrets or lies. Without that, I can't move forward. I promise, Mike, she said, reaching for my hand. No more lies. I'm done with that life. I will do everything to earn your trust back. As the months rolled on, I found myself feeling more confident in our relationship. We started to create new memories, exploring places we had never been and rekindling the laughter we had lost. I began to let my guard down, allowing myself to believe in our future again. But the real test came one weekend when we were out with friends. Jason unexpectedly showed up at the same bar and my heart raced. I could feel Ashley tense beside me. "Stay close," I whispered, my voice low. "Mike, it's fine, I'm not going to talk to him," she replied, but I could see the uncertainty in her eyes. As Jason approached, I felt the air grow thick with tension. "Hey, Ashley," he said with a casual smile. "Good to see you." She froze and I could see her mind racing. "Jason, hi," she replied, her voice shaky. "Just wanted to check in. You look well," he said, his tone light. I couldn't stand there any longer. "We're actually busy, Jason. Thanks for stopping by, but we need to get back to our friends." He raised his eyebrows in surprise but nodded. "All right, no problem. Take care, Ashley." As soon as he walked away, I turned to her. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I didn't even want to talk to him," she replied, her voice firm but still trembling slightly. "Let's get out of here." As we walked outside, I felt a wave of protectiveness wash over me. "I don't want you to feel pressured to talk to him. I trust you, but I also need to know you're done with that chapter of your life." "I am," she insisted, her eyes meeting mine. "I want a future with you, not him." The moment felt significant, as if we were finally shedding the weight of the past. I could feel the walls between us starting to crumble, slowly but surely. Days turned into weeks, and Ashley continued to show her commitment through her actions. The trust we were rebuilding felt more solid, and with each passing day I felt lighter. It was still a process, and I knew there would be ups and downs, but I was learning to trust again. I understood that healing takes time, but I was willing to embrace the journey with her. The experience had taught me a lot about love, boundaries, and the strength it takes to confront hard truths. I had come to realize that true intimacy is built on honesty, respect, and the willingness to fight for one another. As we sat together one night on the couch, I turned to her and smiled. "You know, I think we might just make it after all." Her face lit up and I felt a spark of hope. We were on a new path, and while I couldn't predict the future, I was ready to take it one step at a time. With Ashley by my side, I was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that we had both learned and grown from the experience. The past was behind us, and together we could forge a brighter, more honest future.